Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BECY info session online version. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Um, I have to back up a couple slides here. Okay, loading. Hello. I am here to talk about the Borderlands Earth Care Youth Internship, or BECY, B-E-C-Y. I am the BECY program coordinator. I will also be the lead facilitator, meaning if you apply for the BECY internship, I will be leading the day-to-day programming throughout the program. The other person who is working with me on this is Jordan Sini. She is the education program manager. And while she's not in the meeting today, she will be interacting with us a lot over the course of the BECY internship because she'll be visiting and helping out with a lot of projects. One other person who is a mystery is the other facilitator. So it will be me being the lead facilitator, and then one other person who it will be a leader on a day-to-day basis. But we are still hiring this person. So sit tight and you will meet your leadership soon enough. Okay, so Jordan Sini, Education Program Manager. She started BECY the same year I did when we were both in high school, 2018, coming from Rio Rico / Nogales, Arizona area. I was coming from the Patagonia area. This was back when there was a BECY in Patagonia, there was a BECY in Nogales, and there was also a BECY all the way out in Douglas. This year, we're more kind of alternating. So we did Patagonia last year. This year, we are doing Douglas, Arizona. So yeah, she graduated in sustainability with an emphasis in ecology and a minor in Spanish at ASU. Go Sun Devils! And she also wrapped up her master's in sustainability solutions the following year. For fun, she likes traveling, spending time with family, working for fun. Oh no, working on sustainability storytelling and creative projects, such as her podcast. That is her adorable dog, Mary. All right, this is me. My name is Nick. I am the BECY program coordinator, and I am also at ASU studying music education with a minor in sustainability. Also started BECY as a high schooler in 2018, and now I'm moving on to help facilitate the program. So that's pretty cool. It's my opportunity to give back, make a real difference in the future of the environment. Um, Things that I like to do for fun are um, practicing, and when I'm done, some more practicing pretty much has been how it is lately. Okay, question of the day. We are going to go ahead and, yeah, we're going to skip that one. Okay, agenda. We're going to do the intro to restoration, what we do at Borderlands Restoration Network, Borderlands Earth Care Youth Basics. I'm going to talk about the program. And then we're going to go into some specifics, the schedule, the hiring process, and the important dates you got to remember. So Borderlands Restoration Network is a nonprofit whose mission is to grow a restorative economy by rebuilding healthy ecosystems, restoring habitat for plants and wildlife, and reconnecting our border communities to the land through shared learning. We envision connected borderlands where rivers flow, plants, wildlife, and cultures thrive, and communities develop an inclusive restorative economy where a sense of place inspires a sense of purpose. What is a restorative economy? This blurb here, if I'm going to summarize it, I would basically say it is an economy where we work with the land and we put more into the place that we work in than we extract, where we are making the place that we live better over time and working with nature and with each other. An extractive economy is the opposite of that, where you move into an area, you see a bunch of stuff ripe for the taking, and you do only taking and no restoring, which is not sustainable. If you think about humans as a sustainable species, we would not be depleting the Earth's resources like we are if we had a restorative economy. That's kind of the large scale vision that we're having with this work. Borderlands Earth Care Youth BECY. So we have had 194 BECY graduates over, I think 2012 was our first cohort, 2012. We hire diverse youth. We work in transnational watersheds. We understand that the Santa Cruz River goes into Mexico, comes back into the US, and everything that happens in a mountain in Mexico is going to affect our waters. Everything that happens in the US mountains is going to affect Mexico's waters. And animals and pollinators, an important species of our region, they don't care about a border. So that's the vision that we take when we work here. We do hands-on training. That means you're going to be learning hard skills that are marketable and that you're going to use if you ever look for an environmental career in the future. Networking and mentorship. They're going to work with a lot of professionals who are, really established in their careers. We have people from the National Park Service, people from the U.S. Forest Service, the Nature Conservancy, a lot of cool ranchers who have done sustainable ranching for years and years, and they're going to be kind of your mentors every time we do a project with them, and be a connection that you have for the rest of your life. You can always email them or give them a phone call and say like, "Hey, this work was really cool. I actually want to go into this. Let's have a conversation." So you're building your network by participating in this. Grassroots systematic change, more kind of what I talked about before. The work that we do, we're looking for lasting projects that give you a sense of pride and that are very like out there and visible for people to see like, oh, working with the environment instead of against it is actually really good. And look at these cool youth who got to participate in it because they're the future. That's kind of why we're putting all these youth out there in these projects. Local place-based work. Like I said, we're going to work with the ranchers, we're going to work with the artists, we're going to work with people in your area who will become part of your circle for the rest of time, which is pretty cool. Okay, our restoration approach is three-pronged. The first one I mentioned watersheds and rivers. Basically, we are trying to control erosion and control the rate at which we're basically losing our topsoil. So without getting too much into the science of it, the more our environment dries up, the less grass we have, the more dirt will get washed away. And that dirt is very important because in a region like the Sonoran Desert, it takes up to 10,000 years for 1 inch of topsoil that's really rich in biodiversity to build up. And when we do things like bring in a bunch of cattle or pave a road without thinking about the consequences, we're losing a lot of that topsoil because of the erosion it causes. So our approach is to try to go in and make these land use changes actually sustainable by building erosion control structures and controlling that erosion. So yeah, that is our watershed work. Our ecosystem work, whoops, our ecosystem work is trying to increase biodiversity and basically increase the resilience that our ecosystem has because we know change is coming. We know temperatures are getting up. We know it's getting drier. We know that more and more people are going to be building houses here, and there's a border wall. It's a really complicated situation and not one that, a toad or a hare knows how to handle. So what we're doing is taking these targeted species that we know will be these keystone species and really spreading them around and making sure like we have less invasive species and more really important species such as the monarch butterfly, the milkweed plant that the monarch relies on, agaves, which bats rely on as their pollen source or the nectar source. Again, not getting, I could go so into the weeds, so to speak, with this invasive species and uh, native species stuff, but we'll get there. We will get there. Communities, working in the community. Um, Honestly, this is just what I said before about trying to create an economy that makes sense for the place that it's in and that is more restorative than extractive. What does that mean? It means we're going to go to all these local people like ranchers, artists, local business owners, and we're going to do work for them. And we're going to make projects that are lasting and spread the message of sustainability for the future to see. Okay, career connections. I already talked about this too. Some of the kind of people we're going to meet are artists, people who work in ecology, field researchers. This is an entomologist over here showing us why insects coming over and across from the border of Mexico and the US is really important to our agriculture system. We're talking about conservation. This is a fellow from the Nature Conservancy who we're going to get to see later. Super cool guy. He manages an entire nature preserve by himself with an army of volunteers who just like show up on Saturdays and they get a lot of work done. And we're going to go out there with them. Okay. Here is seed balls that we make to spread native grasses. Some more, I won't go into all the numbers here. All this is on our website, the borderlandsrestoration.org/BECY. Later in this presentation, I'm going to model how to find that information for yourself because that's very important because that's where the application is. All right, moving on. So I'm going to talk about some of the projects that these pictures are from to get you an idea of what you will actually be doing when you sign up for BECY. So here on the left, this is more of an educational activity than a work project. We're kind of balanced between the two. The one on the left is we went out on a tour to the Hermosa mine, which is in the Patagonia Mountains near where I live. It's actually like right behind my house, and the mine kind of wants to buy my house. They're buying up a lot of land down there. It's this huge project that has got a lot of people in town worried about their watershed, worried about biodiversity. And what we said was, let's go talk to the mine and have their restoration professionals like talk to us about what mines do to try to be sustainable. And then later that day, we went and talked to the watchdog group, Patagonia Area Resource Alliance, or PARA, and they gave us a talk about what they look at when mines come into new areas, what they look at with the history of mines. Are they good neighbors or are they bad neighbors? And they gave us a presentation about their side of things. And that way we kind of get to see the information that comes from every side of a complicated issue. Over here on the right, also related to the mine, we were doing some water testing with the Friends of Sonoda Creek group, and they basically watch the watershed in our area and make sure the water levels are okay. They make sure there's enough biodiversity in the water. And we, here on the bottom right, we actually got to map, I think it was like 11 miles of watershed, which was pretty cool. Okay, more work that we've done here on the top left, we are clearing the tree of heaven from the Nature Conservancy Preserve. That is an invasive species that the owner there is trying to really eradicate from the area. That's because the tree actually creates a toxin in the soil that will kill everything around it that isn't tree of heaven. And so, as you can see from that hillside, it just spreads and spreads and takes over. And that's what we call a monoculture, one kind of plant that destroys biodiversity. And it's completely useless to the animals that live here and rely on the native plants that they use for their food, their breeding grounds, their habitat. Okay, here on the right, we have animal scat learning activity, stinky, stinky poops. Here on the bottom left, we have a mural that we made, actually a series of 4 murals, also having to do with our area, the animals and plants that inhabit that area. And that was super cool because it is located at the visitor center of our education center, which we're going to go a little bit more into later here. Okay, what is BECY like? We're going to go ahead and watch this video. Spoiler alert, we are doing a curriculum as part of BECY that will involve a final project from every single intern. You can do a collaboration, and these are 2 interns from last summer who made this video as their collaboration, and that's their final project. So that might get you scratching your head thinking about like, what would I do as my final project? Here's a little bit of an example. I think I have to go and share audio real quick. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Share sound. Okay, that took me a second. Ooh, optimize for video sharing. I might want to do that too. Okay, we are now ready. I'm going to go ahead and re-share my screen with the audio.
What is BECY? Borderlands Earth Care Youth is an internship that allows teenagers and young adults to learn, care, and act towards a better world. By following a well-constructed curriculum that contains essentials about community, ecological, and watershed restoration, the interns develop critical thinking and leadership skills while learning out in the field with restoration experts.
I think programs like BECY are really important for the environment and our local communities because you're engaging youth in ecological restoration. Being able to communicate and empower our youth is the best way to reach the larger community. It's also the best way to prepare us for future resilience. And no matter what career young people go off and do with the rest of their lives, having a really strong base and understanding of what your local ecosystem looks like is a great way to care about ecosystems wherever you live, including the one that you're from. I think programs like BECY should exist in all communities. I would love every watershed to have its own BECY program. I think it's really important, it's really fun.
Why is it important for young young people like BECY interns to be exposed to activities like building erosion control structures.
There's a lot of very good reasons. One of them is teaches people how to get along and how to work as a team and how to talk to each other as a group and as a unit. And another thing is it's really great to respect the planet we're living on. That's the best part of it right there. I mean, we're all here. We're going to be here hopefully for as long as we possibly can. So we might as well take care of the planet we're on and do the things we can do to make it better. It impacts the environment because every structure you're building, you are basically putting water behind rock, and you're basically putting plants are coming up behind the rock. So once you build your rock structure, you have plants and all of this stuff coming up around it, and it really is a beautiful thing once you get going on it. And it's really important for young people to be involved because it's like I said before, it's a beautiful thing to be a part of nature and have your hands in it and everything like that.
Something very special about BECY is that, along with hands-on learning activities, it is also implements art as a way of community restoration. The main project we worked on during Saturdays of April was creating a mural for the new Borderlands Earth Care Center. We also had a series of art ecology where, with the help of local artists, we made wood lasers out of devil's claw, forks out of mesquite wood, and paper out of used paper pulp.
Ecosystem restoration is as important for nature as it is for humans. By protecting the environment and making efforts for a sustainable lifestyle, we are ensuring our health and well-being. It is also known that the economy is a big part of our world, and that is why in BECY, we learn different ways in which we can work with nature to lessen the harm of the current economical practices that are harming the environment. During the month of May, we worked with very inspiring people and learned about permaculture, adobe constructions, and ecotourism. We visited the Canelo project to learn more about these topics and worked with the local Women Grow Food program at BEC for learning the basics in permaculture. Ecological restoration requires knowledge and data collection, as well as hard work. During the month of June, we learned a lot about water ecology and worked alongside the Friends of Sonoita Creek. During this month, we also learned and helped the native plants crew in the seed lab and nursery.
So I think programs like BECY are important for the environment and for communities because they help to build a culture of land stewardship, and they help increase stakeholder engagement in how to manage our natural resources. I think programs like BECY can exist anywhere in the world, in small communities to urban centers. I think that it's a really great model that can be adapted and adjusted to fit different contexts, but it's a really great foundation that can kind of work anywhere.
As well as helped and learned at the Tumacacori National Park in Tumacacori.
From BECY we get the knowledge, from knowledge we get the gold. Sweet yellow gold, from Paddy does it come. But the fattest of all, me boys, the ones who work the day. It's made from BECY up the mighty mountain way. So follow me lads, cause this ain't no easy work. One day down you'll be sweating in the dirt. 5 days down, you'll be shaking in your boots. We're halfway over on the BECY route. the BECY crew. We're proper and we're fine. Give us a sign, a hammer, a pick, and I'm sure we'll make it nice. But then when the day is over, we'll put in our boots and shine. Yeah, one man digging and the other ones will mine. So follow me, lads, 'cause this ain't no easy work. One day down, you'll be sweating in the dirt. 5 days down, you'll be shaking in your boots. We're halfway over on the BECY route.
Yeah. So, William, what experiences are you taking from BECY to college?
Probably all the job exploration as well as environmental education that we've received.
So, who of all people that we've met through BECY have you connected more or have you learned more and you think that would inspire you in your college career?
Well, I think Ewan from the Sky Islands Alliance, you give us a lot of really good information on how to protect our species and study what we have around us. And also our amazing facilitators have helped me a lot and taught us a lot.
Thank you very much.
I say my favorite activity I would do during BECY is the rock work. Just how you can turn a landscape into a not so good landscape that's been eroded away and then fix it with the rock work that you just did and hopefully see your progress later in the future. And I would say that this year's different from last year just because of the environment, the new environment and the new people that we have. And I always come back because of the great teachers that we have.
BECY has encouraged me to care about the environment by looking at how we can transform mountains, like going into a very eroded hillside with all those erosion caused by the water dripping down it, and over the years we can go back and see how sediment collects and is fixing that erosion.
Do you think you'll be coming back to BECY next year?
Yeah, because I enjoy everything we do, exploring new places, getting to do fun activities even when they're hard, you know?
Thank you.
We're going to go back into slideshow. Let me take off. Okay, back to the share. Optimize for video sharing. We do not have to do that. Okay. And we're back. Okay, that was their final project. As you can see, you may or may not get roped into a lot of music activities with the music teacher as your facilitator, so get ready for that. And yeah, a lot of that soundtrack was actually Bianca, the girl in the video. She's a jazz musician and she was playing on the piano, which is a new piano that just opened up as a public instrument over in Patagonia. That kind of ties into our placemaking and our public projects side of BECY. That's why I'm bringing it up. Back to the slideshow. Okay, so that's what BECY is like. Let's see, is our slideshow going to work? There we go. The curriculum. So that was Bianca and Fer's final project for the BECY curriculum. As you can see, the 3 topics I talked about are what the curriculum is. So community restoration, ecological restoration, and watershed restoration. Basically, every day when you go out into the field, we're going to be doing those hands-on projects like gardening, making those rock structures, removing invasive species. And then when we come back to the workroom, we're going to go through the curriculum and learn the actual science behind it. Why is it important to slow down erosion? Why is it important to increase biodiversity? We're going to go really into all of that. And of course, at the end, demonstrate your learning through that final curriculum project. So here's a little sneak peek at what we have lined up for this summer. A lot of projects, we kind of hear about them as it gets closer to project. So we don't have everything yet, but we do know we're going to be working on a lot of U.S. Forest Service land, doing erosion control and monitoring kind of the forest, the biodiversity there. We're going to be working on a lot of ranches. There's a group called the Malpai Borderlands Group. That's a bunch of ranchers getting their heads together and figuring out how they can be sustainable and have a cattle economy. It's a super cool thing, and we're going to get to talk to those people up close. We do know we're going to have a field trip lined up to Patagonia, where our last BECY season was. That's also where Borderlands Restoration has its home base. And so we're going to talk to all the people who are kind of brains behind these operations And that includes the native plant program, the watershed restoration program, and then our education center. BEC stands for Borderlands Earth Care Center. That's kind of like it's going to have a walking tour with all these signs that tell you about your environment, tell you about your watershed. Our idea for it is kind of to be like a demonstration of sustainable action and a hub for learning. So we're going to go there. That's where our murals that you saw in the video, that's where those were from. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff there. And then the Nature Conservancy, where we chopped all that tree of heaven, that is a perennial, meaning year-round water flow over in Patagonia, and it's a super cool place that we need to protect because it's important to wildlife, including the jaguar, a lot of really important bird species. Yeah, we're going to get into all that. There are camping trips, at least one camping trip, because that's when we go to Patagonia. And so it's very important for me to say, like, you should be comfortable with camping. Even if you haven't done it before, you should be open to the idea of camping because we're going to be out there kind of, yeah, in nature. All right. This schedule link just takes you to what I just said about the ranches and the U.S. Forest Service. As we get closer, of course, right now it's just a draft, so we'll have more information on that as probably closer to February. Okay. How to join the BECY Fellowship. You should be 15 to 24 years old. You should at least be interested in environmental science. We especially love it if you have a little bit of experience in nature or just in any kind of leadership role or work role. Interest in nature, in camping, or experience in camping, either or. Even if you don't have experience, we just need to warn you, like, we're going to be out there camping in nature and you should be comfortable. And the physical demands of the job are we're going to be picking up these rocks, we're going to be stacking them, we're going to be hiking up and down to the work site and back down. So just be ready to get kind of sweaty out there in the sun. Obviously, we will be taking breaks and staying in the shade and not killing anybody, but it's going to be pretty physical work. Next slide, please. Okay, there we go. Application details, how to apply. You will go to the application form that is on our website. I guess this didn't get linked, but I will model for you now how to find the application link. Borderlands. Ooh, not border cans. Borderlands Restoration Network. Programs, education, Borderlands Earth Care Youth, right there at the top. Gonna go ahead and click on that. And right here is our application, which, as you can see, this information is just kind of popping up every single step in that process. The other quick way to get here, like I said on the slideshow, borderlandsrestoration.org/BECY, BECY. And then that takes you right here where the application is. Yep. Okay, so some more information about working in BECY. It's going to be 4 days a week at 8 hours per day. Those days are split between the physical work project, a lunch, and then the educational activity using our curriculum where we're going to go into the science. And that afternoon section, the learning is also paid hourly. So it's a pretty sweet deal compared to some internships that might be just backbreaking work all day. Because our main takeaway we want you to have is a really full understanding of the content. And then it's 15 an hour. We are going to have this schedule. So it's during Douglas School District's school breaks. We have spring break, March 10th through 14th. We have Easter weekend, so April 18th through 19th. Skip Easter, give you your Easter day off. And then Douglas gives you that Monday off, the 21st. So we have that. Then it's summer break. So we're going to work a week in May. That's the 27th here. We're going to work 3 weeks in June and then end the program. Probably. There could be a 7th week. We're working with National Geographic to get a camp scheduled. That would be nature photography. Pretty cool. It's just still in the works. So this is all we know so far. The application must be sent in by February 7th, 2025. I mentioned Jordan at the beginning of this. She and I will be conducting those interviews the following week, February 17th, and then the program will start in March. So that is our schedule. That's our timeline. Hopefully you have all the information that you need. And if you have questions, I will go ahead and refer you to, oh, if I can exit the slideshow. Yeah, I will go ahead and refer you back to that BECY page because right here, if you have questions, that's Jordan, our education program manager. Her email is on this page, and that'll be your resource for trying to get connected with us going forward. We hope to see you there. I can't wait to see everybody's applications and get this program started. Thank you for viewing this recording, and have a good rest of your day.